straight into it, looking at the drafting phase right here. Kaja and Fanny, early game aggression being banned away.
Instantly, right? No hesitation because he's in the crowd.
So funny. So original.
I wonder who I got it from.
Yeah. Got it from your daddy, man.
King of
Anyway, looking at this, Kaja ban, Fanny ban. So it looks like Burn Splash is really thinking about this second ban. I like it because as the first pick, blue side, blue side, you have control of how the draft is gonna look like, because whatever you ban is something that they can take and it's something that you don't want, correct?
Mid control has been super important, right? And again, that just goes to show what you said. The first pick, getting that mid lane control with the initial first pick, whether it's the roamer, even sometimes the mage, if Yves is open, has been really crucial here at M4.
I think it depends on what you want to try and do, right? If you want to go for a bit of flex, maybe first pick you can actually like play around a bit. But if you want to secure the prior heroes, being able to pick up 2 in the second pick actually has a bit of value as well. So it depends on these coaches and what exactly is their approach to this drafting phase. But so far, for Burn X Flash, it does seem like, as you mentioned, to control the mid pressure, and then maybe from there on, if you can combo that with a strong jungle, that just ensures a very smooth rotation of the 3-man roaming squad from the mid lane.
The Joy still a fan favorite when it comes to the bans here. We've only seen it 3 times, I believe,
2 or 3
here
times, yeah.
at M4. But I think he has a negative win rate so far right now.
And when Joy wins, it's kind of like not because of the Joy.
True.
I mean, like,
Right.
it's annoying, it's very hard to catch, but it's never really been the winning factor. It's not like a Franco, it's not like the Benedetta. So you're kind of there doing what you're supposed to do.
You're a distraction.
Yeah,
Kind of.
kind of.
But I mean, we've seen Joy being
You're a
used in the
distraction.
jungle.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you guys are very distracting to me, actually.
Hey,
It's looking too good.
Oh,
Whoa.
you're cute, my guy.
Hey, but the Joy is also a very cute hero. But the issue is, I think it has so much more potential in a lane where you can actually bring that vengeance, because that just supplements the squishiness, one of the weak points of this Joy pick. But a lot of teams have been using it in the jungle where you're forced to be using a retribution, so you are more prone to just being bursted down and locked down with crowd control.
You know, something that I saw from Burn X Flash was that Fanny up against Falcon. And man, Chama is so good at this Fanny, right? I can't wait to see him play other heroes, other assassins in the jungle. We saw the Fanny. I wonder if he can bring out the Hayabusa now, or perhaps something like a Ling. 2 heroes that we have seen find a lot of success here at M4. But looking at Incendio Supremacy now, we're going to take a look at their final ban. Do they want to go for that assassin ban, leaning again towards respecting Chama in the jungle? Or do they want to go for a different route here? And that's the answer. Yves. Mid-control has been the priority, and mid-control is what they are most scared of as well.
Yeah, Burning Splash, they're really setting up for a glue here because they banned out the carry. And looks like, no, they are prioritizing on the 1-1 with a 100% win rate so far. But banning out the Eve, it looks like whatever Burning Splash is gonna take, if they do want to kind of like force fights, having fighters, it's going to be great, but having a 1-1 in your lineup, I kind of feel like you need distractions as well to make it easier for the 1-1 to actually use their ult.
So disruptions, heroes can dash in and just make sure that the opponents cannot actually sit in a proper front-to-back formation. That makes a lot of sense. But in the current meta, we saw the Grok being very, very effective at doing that, just walking around, denying quad control, and also just knocking everyone up with a wild charge. The glue, though, has been the more popular pick, but now it's a fair miss as well. Being picked to remove a counter for the glue, but as we mentioned, Lapel, I think we did discuss that it seems very, very situational, and even when it's supposed to shine, it doesn't seem as strong, like a top-tier pick.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is almost one of the situations where they're already familiar with what Premise is trying to do, and the ult being changed is not too bad for them personally. And I kind of want to talk about the glue as well, because I kind of feel like everyone is agreeing that glue is super strong. Has been picked up 4 times, but only won once, which is very crazy to see, because yeah, you're very strong, but apparently people have already found ways to deal with this glue, and looks like a lot of damage coming in from Burn X Splash, because picking up this Farsa, it looks like range will never be a problem. So even if 1-1 can't catch someone with her ult, you got Farsa to just burst them down with some meters coming in from out of nowhere.
You got Poke, you got a solid frontliner, and a 1-1, right? So far, it's looking like a front-to-back composition from Burn X Flash. Meanwhile, Incendio, They're building towards a dive composition here already with the Faramis and the glue that really wants to just dive and split the team up.
Well, they're diving here towards a Fredrin, though. That's a lot of crowd control. And that combo, a Farsa and a 1-1, right? Everyone getting chunked down by the Feather Airstrike can allow for a very devastating crossbow of Tang that can be transferred to multiple people. So if Incendio doesn't get careful with how they want to draft here, it's going to be confusing, but whoa, it's going to be a Clint.
I gotta ask you, Mirko, because yeah, you play the gold lane a lot. How does this matchup look like between the 1-1 and the Clint?
Clint has an insane advantage up against the 1-1, right? Obviously the range and the poke, and obviously just the base damage in the early game. Clint absolutely dominates the 1-1. Thing is, it needs to be a 1v1, it needs to be a duel. It almost never is a duel in the gold lane. You always have someone coming by towards that gold lane, whether it's the roamer, or if you're looking at Burn X Flash's composition, it should be both roamer and mid laner. They picked that Farsa for a reason. It's for that additional mobility with the Wings by Wings, and Clint's gonna be very, very careful. He has to be very careful, because if he's not, he's gonna be punished early on.
And as you mentioned, Mirko, the Clint needs to actually get an advantage in the laning phase. Otherwise, the pick becomes quite irrelevant in a sense. There's no real reason to pick it against that 1-1. So if in the early game, Burn X Flash just moves a lot of members, all the way since level 2 even, they can completely shut down the Clint because they can read how the Clint is supposed to be playing. Unless Incendio has some next level mind games here, it's going to be very difficult for this gold lane to actually pay out.
Right now, looking at the ban, because they could have used the Lolita for themselves, so either they don't favor the Lolita or it's showing that they want to group up together, because so far, the Lolita has been used when going up against like a Nestus, like a Faramis, where you know they will come together. So Lolita out of the picture, does this kind of show what kind of draft they want?
Technically, there is a possibility of the glue going as a roamer, like being placed as the roamer for the team.
It's not the craziest idea.
It's not the craziest idea. I mean, we're seeing 2 roamer bans already, right? That might be Incendio saying, hey, we already have a roamer, you just don't know it yet. Maybe you still think it's going to the XP lane.
It's still, you know, a possibility, and the Faramis can also still be flexed as well if you really want to. So this is the current meta, guys. You never really know what's going to happen.
What about the Clint, no?
The Clint as a role.
Clint jungler, mid laner.
Jungle.
That's quite the old meta.
Toda would have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mid lane, yeah.
Kodak would have done it.
Lofel calling you guys out, guys, on the stage. But Burn X Flash will ban away yet another jungler. So it does seem like they want to have a bit of an advantage there, trying to make sure that with the quick roaming Farsa, they can combo that with a strong jungle that they can use to shut down the game completely. Although for Incendio, the Grok will be picked. Yet again, a hero that can be moved towards the row position.
Okay, so is it just gonna be...
Oh.
No, Burn X Flash. I keep calling for the Estes, and the Estes has been picked up, as well as the Benedetta. Like,
Good call.
now we see all the 5 heroes for Burn X Flash. Arashi, like, what does this tell us?
I've seen this composition
You've seen this composition?
somewhere. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was Incendio played it yesterday or 2 days ago, and I think a team who became world champions used this composition to win the world championship last year. I think. I don't know.
It just seems
Am I right?
uncannily familiar. I think so. I mean, it's just very balanced. There's a lot of front-to-back potential, but also a lot of ways for you to catch people off. So, I mean, if it has been proven to work a lot of times, there's no reason why they can't use it for themselves. So, you can say it's a smart move, a very calculated move, but for Incendio right now, the final pick will actually dispel all this confusion we have about their roster, their lineup. It's gonna be an Amon.
First time at M4 right now. That's the debut for the Amon and the Clint.
Yeah, I mean, Amon is kind of cool, but I do have to say, with the S's being on Burn X Flash and a lot of bursts coming in from Incendio, will Incendio have enough damage for a prolonged team fight, or will they try to pick it off?
I mean, if they get an advantage, they can burst down too
so
hard
cute.
for the healing to work, but
So cute.
Oh,
cute.
so cute. He's
Aw.
supporting Burn X Flash. We saw some supporters as well for Incendio, but for both the compositions, again, quick fire predictions. Arashi first. Who do you think has the better draft?
Ooh, I like Burn X Flashes just because of the flexibility, and I like to stay away from danger, so having a lot more range, I like that a lot. So I think I will go with Burn X Flash on this one.
I like Danger, Incendio.
All right.
I like Danger.
That's a
I think I'm leaning
quick
over
response.
to you too, man. I really like aggression, and looking at Incendio, that's what they're bringing to the table. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive in for match number 2, Burn X Flash up against Incendio Supremacy.
Looking at this game, if the aggression works, where should it work at? Because right now, looking at both teams, if they get wait. I saw the Grok with a marksman emblem, so it's going to be a lot of physical attack. And I guess this is a glue roamer. Is this what's going on?
Oh.
So it is
wait, what is going on here? I think it is a glue roam.
I mean, you called it out.
It's not. It is a. Yeah, you're right. The glue roam, and it's going to be the Grok in the XP. We saw that Boots brought the high and dry in game number 1, but for. Oh, wait a minute. Apex going to be caught here. Forced to use the flicker. D7's already looking for the kill on the Estes, flanking around. But yeah, we've seen this before. It was Fluffy who used this build in Indonesia on the Grok XP. Weapon mastery, which means he's looking for that late game damage, technically, or the mid game damage, whenever he gets those items.
He's looking to scale with the items as best as possible. And yeah, the roaming glue, we talked about that roam going in, and he was trying to escort the Clint, trying to make sure that the Clint has a good lane. But as you mentioned, Mirko, the Farsa just comes in, becomes a big problem, and now Burn already trying to abuse the mobility and the speed of this Benedetta pick.
Oh, very good eye for an eye there, getting out of the endless shards. And Chima will just go for the gold buff, picks it up. And in the early stage, it's still just both teams playing it really slow. No real reason to go in for a crazy engagement. Right as I say that, though, Caster Curse, Chima jumps in. Oh! And Tenzi too gets the first blood in the mid lane up against CCAT.
Caster Curse is real, man. Every time we predict something, the exact opposite happens. And now with that pressure, they're going to go for that turtle fight. They have sustain, they have burst damage as well. So in the early game, this makes for a very dangerous combination.
Yeah, mid-game domination is what I want to see from Burn X Flash, actually, because they have the S's and they have a range advantage. So I want to see them pick one lane, win that out. Apex 47 is doing a lot of damage, but he's taking a lot of damage himself. He has to remember, as a roamer, you don't scale up quickly, so he's got to be careful when he goes for disengages.
Well, Incendio Supremacy are already doing a good job at splitting Burn up. It's still going to be ATM in the back line with the final blow here, trying to look for the steal, as TNZ will still be able to get that Retribution down. ATM dashing all across the place, picking up a kill onto Rosa, as that's Apex 47, an alien caught by Burn X Flash, and it is a double kill picked up. Now, D7 gets a kill too.
That is 3 kills being picked up by the side of Burn X Flash, and that was a very bold play from CCAT. He just goes in with the wings by wings all the way, by point blank to the members of Incendio, knowing that they were on the back foot, enabling him to just land so much crowd control, so much more burst damage, and in the early game, this is what they can abuse. If Incendio wants to try and match them, it will be in that mid game where the Cult Altar can be abused in the midst of those chaotic fights.
Well, Incendio, they're kind of like high risk, high reward kind of strat right now, because a lot of bursts, but because Burn X Flash, they do have the S's, it can mitigate a lot of damage. So looking at how it's setting up right now, looking at the emblems, even this S is putting a lot of stats onto healing, and that was a good burst. Can they do it over and over again?
That's the big question, right? Can they do it when an Estes is around?
That's the problem. Although they do have the chance of like crowd controlling the Estes to mitigate that healing, but already rotations are being made. Incendio are trying to make sure that they exert their own will, but look at the response, just quick coming in from Burn X Flash.
Very good rotations here by Burn X Flash already. Again, helping the gold laner, Fury, who's not in a good matchup up against the Clint. But now, it does seem like with both teams rotating towards that top side, both teams will disengage, but Incendio will actually still try to look for a commitment here with the endless shards being placed on the Fury, but with D7 there, that answers your question. The burst is not enough just yet. Now it's going to be the Cult Ultra placed in again. Chama going to be caught, but has the healing coming in from D7 as Apex 47 jumps in with the split, brings Chama back onto Incendio, and it's a 1-for-1. The roamer traded in for the jungler. Oof. Still worth it for Incendio as the turtle spawns in to the land of dawn.
There was one more weak point on Sunshine, so Fury almost used that crossbow of Tang, but that is what Burn X Flash can afford to do right here. Despite everyone rotating to cut off Fury from his team, the support comes in, the healing comes in, and if Incendio clumps together, you can see that the Feather Airstrike is devastating.
Right now, Burn X Flash, they're looking pretty good, pretty solid, even though Incendio has a small goal lead, but looking at this, Apex 47 wants to get a cash, but it's easier said than done.
Feather Airstrike by CCAT just to buy some time, poking him down. Alien going to be able to actually use the Furious Dive. Wait, it's a kill over. ATM was able to find Tianzi in his own jungle, invading out of nowhere with the Petrify, gets that kill down, and instantly Incendio have lost turtle control. Unless Apex can make a miracle happen, doesn't look like it's gonna happen though.
It's such a tough situation for Incendio right now because Burn X Flash, they have the superior poke damage and they also have the superior sustain. So unless Incendio can get a very decisive engage onto the members of Burn X Flash, it's going to be very difficult for them to even get anything. And even if they engage, they need to make sure that it's on D7 because as you mentioned, Lafel and Mirko, that healing is just way too much for them to deal with in this early game without any items.
Right now, I just want to talk about Burn X Flash because I'm your ATM right now. He's banking it on because TNZ can't do anything to this guy. This Benedetta is causing a lot of problems, not just with damage, not just with the control in confusion, but actually being a target of getting bursted down and taking absolutely no damage. That's going to be demoralizing for Incendio right now.
That is what happens when your composition has a very short window of damage. If you compare that to Burn X Flash, the longer the fight goes, the more they have an advantage. We saw it earlier in the turtle fight, and I think Incendio understand it as well. They want to get in, get their benefits, you know, get the pick off, and get out before the fight gets out of control.
Good opening by Chama over to Alien, dealing some damage out as Fury is actually looking for all the weakness points, gets it, wild charge forced in. The crossbow tang with the Inspire is going to be popped in, but Alien's still able to actually take all that damage, and the charge pop, but that's D7 with the healing. Apex 47 bringing him back right now with the call alter place as well. Fury's going to be taken down as the Feather Airstrike will be popped towards the back line. TNZ taken low, and the Appraiser's Wrath by Chama seals TNZ's fate. Apex caught, has the split, goes back in, flickering onto CCat, getting the stacks down, getting in as well, bringing him back. Alien now, following it up with the damage, and you can see the weapon mastery finally coming into play as the taunt comes in. Shma is looking for the setup once again. Alien flickers out, gets knocked up, as that's another split by Apex 47. I'm your ATM, jumping in with the Petrify, Rosa flickering out. Rosa gonna be taken down with the final blow, was cancelled out, and it's a shutdown for Sunshine. Now, guess who's back? Fury's back from the dead, but it's not enough, and it is both teams just disengaging.
Wow, they spent so much time trying to get into that fight that Incendio, they were able to wither most of the storm and then later on finally use that cult altar effectively. That is not what Burn X Flash were looking for.
Let me just put into perspective how long that team fight was. Glue used the split, his ultimate 3 times, and Grog used the wild charge 2 times. Both ultimates. Imagine 5 ultimates from just these 2. That's a long team fight. That's a very long team fight.
I almost ran out of breath.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know, good job.
Hey, thank you, man.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, you breathe, man. That's crazy.
I breathe.
You breathe good. But now it's Incendio that's on the back foot. They went for the turtle, but is that enough? Because Burn goes for the pressure, and now Alien is the one being targeted by Fury and D7.
Okay, that damage is pretty disgusting, right? You saw it. One attack with the power of nature.
Okay, so here's the thing about burst compositions, right? You always got to make sure that kind of everyone, or at least 2 members, are focusing on the same target, and I kind of feel like that's what's making Incendio's draft looks not so great right now, because everyone is targeting their own thing. Like, whoever's closest, let's go for the target. Now, TNZ and Rosa, they're waiting around the orange buff. Can they actually catch it?
Yep, that's your answer right there. CCat's going to be caught. Rosa pops the call altar again, just trying to get out of there with Sunshine backing him up. It does seem like Incendio will take control of the bottom lane, with Apex 47 acting as a roamer, but because he's so sustainable, he can actually act as an XP laner too, just be a distraction. I'm your ATM, try to go for the Petrify, jumps out with the eye for an eye, but gets gunned down by Sunshine, and that's the mid lane pressure being placed on by Incendio. And they get that top lane too. It's so good by Incendio right now.
They're winning in the structure department. They took the mid tower and they're moving towards the top tower as well. So with the control, they can look to face like this. And ooh, that was a very, again, dangerous attempt from Alien. And we saw this is what they do. They hide in the jungle, they cut you off from your team, and before you know it, you lost 2 members before the fight even begins.
Yeah, right now, Apex 47, I'm seeing that he's just more or less being a distraction. Of course, he would try to get someone. TNZ just caught CCat, and right now it looks like, I don't know which items that really made the difference, but Incendio, all of a sudden is like, yeah, let's fight. Like, let's just go for it. We can get the kills now, guys. Let's go.
Incendio have something against CCAT, man. He's been taken down 5 times, and TNZ has always just been on that. Apex 47, again, just opening up the map, again, acting as a distraction as he goes in for split, but will be taken down by the crossbow Tang. It's translated over to Rosa with the help of that final blow, dealing so much damage while Charge connects onto 2, but Sunshine's free hitting. These 7 still helping the team sustain with the Appraiser's Wrap being placed by Chma to pick up a double kill. It's a 3-for-1, and Burn have turned around a fight 4v5 without CCAT.
That is insane. They're just going in so aggressively, and they get clumped up. CCAT wasn't there initially in the fight, but he actually made it there, and that is something you cannot do against his composition. We talked about diving in towards crowd control, and Burn X Flash has an abundance of CC that they can use to stop Incendio in their tracks.
Oh, Chma, again, taking some damage, but he is a Fredrin.
Yeah, right now, looking at the composition, right, I kind of feel like Sunshine is already on board. Like, I want to fight with you guys. So, Burn X Flash, they got to start focusing on actually getting Sunshine down first before they start fight. Because in this team fight right now, what's happening, Arashi?
Initially it was a called alter, but again, everyone's clumped up so deep into each other, and their member that's been shining so far is TNZ. It's an assassin that can delete one person, but he cannot delete the whole team. So we saw that TNZ was able to do a lot of damage, but everyone else are still able to survive and do the damage, and eventually Incendio just ran out of steam.
Right now, Burn X Flash, they're pushing in, and if I'm looking at Midlane. I don't know who's going to win this 1v1, but it looks like neither is going to win the 1v1 because now TNZ is getting pressured because everyone from Burn X Flash is moving towards mid. And I like this way of play. Focus on actually, moving together, actually using this S to your advantage.
You just saw D7 and Fury build that Athena shield at the same time. They understand that right now, Incendio, they need to play around TNZ. If their main damage dealers or their main support can get deleted, that is a huge blow to their teamfight capabilities, and they recognize that. So with the Athena shield, it means that Incendio's TNZ will be having a lot more of a difficult time trying to delete all those backline members.
Yeah, right now, I honestly think at the 12-minute mark, it's time to transition, right? Your main carry was TNZ, but now it's about time to transition over to Sunshine, who has the damage, who has the weapon mastery as well. Apex, though, still able to actually get out of that with a split, as Rosa tries his best to zone the members away. Both teams not really going to risk anything, not really going to commit to anything here in 12 minutes, still waiting for that lord to spawn back in.
Right now, I'm actually just looking at TNZ because he is trying very hard to make sure that he is staying at the side of Burn X Flash jungle. And looking at the way that they're playing, I kind of feel like he wants to take out CCAT or Fury as fast as possible. And right now, Alien, he's alone. Can he actually get out of this? And it looks like Burn X Flash, they're not even sure where he is. They don't know Alien is there.
Oh, Alien. Oh, there you go. He's spotted here. He jumps in, looking at Power of Nature, but will just use the Wild Charge to get out. Weakness point, the final one, not there just yet, but it is opened up. Alien isolated from the rest of his team. Fury has the crossbow tank, but will not use it, and that might be a mistake, as that's an endless charge placed onto him. Chma's gonna be isolated, and he's gonna be taken down. The crossbow tank is dealing damage to himself with Apex on him with a split, and Fury now with no ultimate. It's gonna be ATM jumping with Petrify, finding the jungler, shutting him down. Apex running for the hills, the Feather Airstrike comes down to poke them down. Fury with the kill spree, chasing them down, looking for more weakness points on the board, but Sunshine comes in, gets the shutdown back. ATM loses his immortality. Rosa is all alone, and it's Burn who come out on top.
That was a long fight, a long chase, and Incendio went for the flank, but they kind of didn't really get the best re-engage onto that fight, and that allows Burn X Flash to buy a bit more time, and eventually, as we said, the long Jonah team fights with the sustain, with the DPS, they come out on top, and it's so disastrous because the Lord is up at the same time. Incendio is still contesting, but it does not seem possible unless Alien can make something of a miracle play.
We've seen a miracle play by Grok many times before. He's looking for it. He has the weapon mastery for a reason. He steals it for Turkey, for Incendio, to save the game for his team. He's an absolute alien for that one.
I mean, you called it, man. We've seen so many miracle plays with the Grok. If you want to see it happen, like you do, this is why, like Grok's one of my favorite heroes. But okay, that was an insane play. But Incendio, they gotta be on the same. I don't know, man. Do I even really want to be too smart about this? Because that's a highlight of the day.
That's the highlight of the day, man. Wow, unbelievable. I didn't think it was possible. I'll be real with you, but he proved me wrong, man. Alien saves that Lord play, and now with the Lord behind them, they have a chance to split up the members of Burn X Flash, and that will actually be very beneficial for their composition. They can get those pickoffs that's been very difficult to get when Burn X Flash is clumped up, working as a team together.
Their comp works so well for sieges with the Clint. And with the Feather Airstrike being used up in the bottom lane, it leaves the mid lane susceptible to this kind of siege. You can already see it with the Lord taking the base turret down. It is going to be Incendio backing off instantly, still playing that disciplined game, not wanting to commit any further.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if they want to go inside the base, it's going to be very different.
Oh.
TNC, hello, I'm your ATM. Well, come on home, stay in the base. And that's what they got to do, because if they want to go inside the base of Burn X Flash, it's going to be very difficult for them to engage. So they got to find a way to split Burn X Flash up and then actually try to engage.
Exactly, when they're split up like that, that's where you can see TNZ just really take over. It is I'm Your ATM who was able to get a solo kill, but in this late stage of the game, against, full damage Amon is going to be too difficult, but the engage comes in.
Alien again with Wild Charge onto 3, and the power of nature just seals Cat's fate. The Appraiser's Wrath did not find him, but Fury's gonna be massive right now with the crossbow tag. A winner truncheon to bait it out and to get out. TNZ gonna be caught low as Apex 47 jumps in, but Fury is still kind of away.
Whoa!
Sunshine guns him down, and that's 2 on the board for Incendio, plus the base turret.
Okay. So pulling back to the game right now, 2,000 goal lead. Incendio, they got amazing damage, and right now Burn X Flash, I kind of feel like they gotta find a way.
I love this game.
I love this game as well. This game is fire. I'm
called
fire.
it.
You're fire. You called it, Arashi. And right now, Incendio, they have a lot of burst damage. And Burn X Flash, they're trying to burn things down bit by bit. And look, talk to me, Arashi. What does Incendio got to do? What does Burn X Flash got to do to actually close this game?
All right, for Burn X Flash, I think they have to try and get their sights onto Sunshine. Yes, TNZ is a problem, but they have items, they have ways to deal with that. Winter Truncheons, Magical Defense, Athena Shields, they have built that already, but Sunshine has been free hitting. He has 1 death right now. That is not okay. For Burn X Flash, the main damage dealer needs to be taken out, unless they want to lose in the whole front to back, because Fury on the 1-1 cannot just do the same kind of damage in a team fight like Sunshine on this Clint. And for Incendio, on the flip side, they can do what they've been doing right here, split up the team, ensure that the Estes cannot get full value from the blessing of the Moon Goddess, and beware of the Feather Airstrike poke damage. If it's down, if they can force Seacat to use it, they must do so.
Oh, that was such a good eye for an eye to get out of the Endless Charge, but the basic attack is all TNZ needs. ATM buys the Winter Truncheon, but it's not enough. It is not enough. 1-man disadvantage right with the Lord spawning in. And what is Incendio gonna do? They started up instantly. I thought they were gonna wait for the Evolved Lord, but no, they're going at it. They can't waste any time.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Burn X Flash, they got to see this coming, man, because whenever someone wants to split up, it really doesn't matter who you find, you're definitely going to die. So really, move as a team, try to put pressure, because right now, Incendio, they've reached their mark. They've reached their win condition. Burn X Flash, look at the game. Slow down, move together, stop getting picked off, because TNZ right now, he is loving this hero. He's loving seeing anyone moving alone.
And it's crazy that he's so aggressive. He sees I'm Your ATM alone, and he goes for it on the opposite side of the Lord. It's smart. It just catches I'm Your ATM out of, off guard completely. And now with the Lord, this is going to be the final sequence. They will be trying to look for it unless Burn can find something great.
Alien, what a play right there. But when nature comes in, it does not matter. TNZ is targeting the base to secure the upper brackets for Incendio supremacy. Be proud. You have done it. Incendio.
Dude,
beating Falcon.
Apex,
and now Burn.
Apex 47, he did the heart. He's happy, but I can see his hand shaking. He's like, we won.
It was close.
We won, but dude.
You can see the pressure getting to them, man. It's such a great moment. It was so close, and it wasn't one-sided at all. There were so many moments where it was almost over, but again and again, this crazy plays happening from both these teams to keep the game alive. The fire burning. This is the fire game we've been waiting on. It completely delivers, man. What a game.
Battle of Dark Horses, you could kind of call it, right? Wow. Or the Fire Horses, because both teams brought fire to the stage. Man, again, let's talk about it. For me, give the MVP over to Alien. Just give it over to them, man.
That Lord Steel, hello?
And the final fight?
The amount of damage coming from the Grog is like, one slap, you're like 50% HP gone?
Go green, power of nature.
Power of nature, man. And he goes in at the right time again and again. He is the main engage tool. And it's just so unexpected, I must say. Like, I was thinking that they're gonna approach it differently, but we were in the middle of a sentence and he just goes in. And when your marksman just gets chunked to half HP in a single second, at that point, it's just so difficult to recover.
Late game Clint too, right? We mentioned it early on. If the Clint doesn't get rolling, he is going to struggle. But in this game, in the lane, it was a stalemate. None of them actually got a solo kill. Doesn't matter. Because Clint, towards the late game, will definitely scale better because of the range and the front to back that they have.
Clint is essentially a magician, man, because first you see his HP, now he's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not shooting bullets. They're just straight up bombs.
Because of the passive, right? How it works. Every time he uses a spell, his next attack hits hard and it hits everyone at the same time. So when everyone's clumping up to get healing from the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, they're also lining up for that perfect collateral coming in from Clint.
CCAT did not get to play it. So frustrating, man. And towards the end, they moved it over, not just to CCAT, but also to I'm Your ATM. On a Benedetta with the Eye for an Eye, you would think that he could actually get out of the burst of the Endless Shards, but no.
Yeah, in the early stage of the game, sure, you can avoid a lot of damage, but once TNZ locks onto you, you could dish, dash all over the place.
Doesn't matter.
The Endless Shard would just keep on coming.
And the basic attack too.
And the basic attack too.
I think initially it's because you can block the abilities with the Eye for an Eye, but in the late game, look at those attacks, dude.
I'm
Those attacks
I'm
hit
just gonna
hard.
press this button over and over again. Eventually, you'll die.
Exactly, that's what happens towards that mid-game to late game, and once your EXP lane cannot sustain alone, cannot split push, it's very hard to win that macro game. And look at Incendio, that late game macro, it's all in their hands. That's why they were able to actually catch the members of Burn X Flash off guard when they're trying to push out lanes, when they're trying to set up for the Lord. They just get completely taken out, and numbers advantage is just so massive in the late game.
You can say goodbye to Wanwan's 100% win rate because it's down, it's gone now. Fury played really well, especially early on to go up against a Clint like that, right? But fortunately, it was not enough to transition over to the late game. And CCAT, I think the main problem for Burn X Flash wasn't just handling the damage from the enemy team, but handling the CC. CCAT can't ult freely, and Fury can't do much if he gets CC'd. On top of that, the Estes, D7, had such a bad time later on in the game because he's always getting CC'd. He's knocked up. There's so much to be careful of, be wary of.
And because I think Sunshine has the motto when he's using a Clint, if the enemy hits hard, I just hit harder. And that's one of the bigger problems where I think the Burn X Flash completely understands we gotta get Sunshine down. We gotta set the sun on this guy. But looking at his positioning, it really wasn't easy. Alien as well, creating a lot of space. So we do say it's like, okay, Burn X Flash, move together, man. You guys have the Estes, but it's very demoralizing when you are an Estes and your job is to deal with burst damage. But when you can't handle that burst damage, it doesn't look good. So I don't know, I feel like this game was more 50-50 than what people would think, because Burn X Flash has a lot of avenue that they can win the game. It's just difficult to handle TNZ in the late game with Aemon bursting out very fast and that clean being kind of unfair.
You have to remember that the glue as well, it wasn't shining a lot, but the glue was such a big nuisance, diving in towards that backline, being so tanky due to the regeneration coming in from that split, right? He just dives in and makes everyone move around again and again. Take a look at some of the items here. It's a very, very long game, but Incendio definitely still are on top. We talk about Sunshine and look at that damage. Only an Immortal and everything else, it goes aggressive because at the same time, Burn X Flash, they have one long-range target, long-range deterrent for Sunshine, and it's magical. He didn't even go for the Athenas. He just knew that he can stand there and he can let his other teammates, Apex 47, he can let Rosa as well as Alien zone away CCAT, and that just allows him to free hit again and again.
And to add on to that, right, I want to talk a little bit about the gold lane matchup here. Look at Fury on the Wanwan. He was forced to actually go for the Athena and for the Wind of Nature. And if you look at the damage coming in from Incendio Supremacy, it makes sense. They need some damage for the side of... They need some defensive items from the side of Burn X Flash.
Yeah, defensive items, it just makes it so difficult. So like, you know, if they wanna actually like, survive in the late game, it's gonna be too difficult. And if they wanna try and itemize in a very simple manner, it also makes it so irregular in how they want to play it out. Because for Burn, it's not like Seacat has no damage, but the fact that he is under fire, being chased by so many heroes that can burst him down, it's so difficult. Whereas for TNZ and for the rest, he has a Winter Truncheon, and that's about it. They can call it a day.
Let's see. Man, there's so much damage, right? You would think that they would have a little bit more defensive items because they were able to actually win in a lot of these prolonged team fights, but no. Instead, they just went full-on damage with the weapon mastery that they have as well. It really benefited them, right? I mean, we saw even in the late game, Alien. Grok's supposed to fall off damage-wise.
Not with that emblem, though. I mean, this might be the resurgence of the strategy, especially with what LaFell said, right? No. We have to see, like, if the damage just scales and gives him a lot more physical tankiness, that is why this Grok is such a unique hero and has so many uses. In this post-game stats, we can see that the carry is definitely TNZ with a 76,000 damage dealt, but Apex 47 as the sandbag as well. He was just so obnoxious.
The Forgotten One, D7, he did so much for his team. It was a solid performance with the S-Test, but unfortunately, it just was not enough. The healing did well, especially in the mid-game, but Arashi, when you talk about that late game where the damage just constantly scales for the Amon, the Clint, there's not much you can really do.
Exactly. I think the flexibility, right? You guys were talking about aggression so much, and you know, I thought that my prediction, Burn X Flush was gonna win, but you know, you guys and Incendio Supremacy proved me wrong completely. So it just shows again how reliable, how good aggression can be in this higher stage of the game. When you are the proactive one, when you are the one that can suddenly make the play happen like Alien on that Grok, you already have an advantage compared to Burn, who was just waiting and just, you know, on their toes on who is actually gonna make that first move.
All right, man. Incendio, they broke the curse too. They won on red side today in the second match. So, Arashi, MVP, I think we can agree we want to give it to Alien, right? Do you think Alien's the MVP?
I think so, man. Like,
Come on.
there's no question about it.
Stealing the Lord, getting the fights done, and we'll see. It's actually TNZ who played very well too, right? You could see that
okay.
TNZ picked Seacat off so many times early on, and later on, he transitioned. He didn't just stay on Seacat because he knows that D7, he read that. He changed.
Exactly. I mean, he was able to adapt his playstyle depending on what the circumstances were, and he is able to adjust and see like who is actually the most disturbing member on the team. Because in a team fight, when the skirmishes were happening, he was going for Fury, he was going for Seacat. But once he understood that, oh, this is a macro game now, when we're playing for the late game neutral objective, the Lord, he just keeps going for that split push. He catches the Benedetta off guard again and again, and I think it's still a well-deserved MVP, but of course, shout out to Alien, man.
Shout out Alien, man. Oh my god. He saved the game for his team, but obviously, looking at this, I really want to take a look at the highlights again because that game was full of it, man. It was all filled with just TikTok moments here and there. I just really want to see the Grok steal again, dude. That Grok steal was magnificent. Yeah,
we were saying it's difficult. It's over. There needs to be a miracle, and it happens. Wow.
The wild charge.
You can't write a better story, man. Like what? It's insane.
It happened towards Incendio, one of the dark horses, one of the teams that almost everybody wrote off, right? Again, this wasn't a team that wrote off. Okay?
Not wrote off.
No,
okay.
not wrote off. Wrote off because. Well, I think we can agree. Coming into M4, we weren't really talking about Incendio. Looking at Group A, we thought, hey, it's going to be a very smooth ride for Blacklist and Falcon.
Right, but this is why it's so good. No one wants to watch a tournament where it's already predetermined, pre-decided. These are the games we want to see. The aggression, how it's so intense and it can go either way. And I think for sure, for TNZ, this game was like that. He was having a difficult time in the early game due to that Benedetta, but he persevered. He understood that, all right, in the late game, he just knows the power spikes, and he knows that towards that moment, 1v1, bring it on.
You know, I need to ask you this question too, Arashi. Amon, first time picked up, instant win, right? And MVP. Is this hero back in the meta? Is he going to be prioritized from this game onwards? Or do you think this just works for this composition that they've gone for, which really prioritizes crazy aggression?
I think that as an assassin, it works really well, but also depending on what kind of composition, as you mentioned, Mirko, because if he is going to go in alone, he does not have the mobility. He has the concealment, right? He can like be a bit slippery with how hard it is to catch. But if he's going in alone against multiple members, he does not have the same kind of mobility like a Lancelot, like a Hayabusa, for example. And I think that's why Hayabusa just stands out so much more in the meta. But right now, we take a look at the highlights, Mirko, and that is what we've all been waiting for, man.
Oh yeah, man. I just want to. I really want to watch that game over because of how interesting it was. Right, very slow pace, but it was a very intelligent game. Heavy macro. Then when we got to the mid game, it was just skirmishes on top of skirmishes. So we got both styles, right? We saw Incendio style, we saw Burn style as well.
Keep in mind, you were saying that, oh, this game is still pretty slow, and then all of a sudden it
Boom.
picks up. The cast of curse is so real, but we have to see, man. The highlights here will really show, again, the brilliance of that game and how well it is for both these teams to actually make the plays happen at such a tense situation. Remember, this is M4, and there were so many eyes, so many expectations on them, and they performed absolutely well from both these teams. To look at this fight right here, as you can see, the backline is never safe.
No, it
Apex 47 comes in, Alien comes in, and before you know it, if you're not careful, an invisible TNZ will take you out.
Here, man, you could see it, right? That it's just really good micro. Every single team fight was full of this, right? Even here, you could see it was so good initially for Incendio Supremacy. They got the pick onto Seacat, who isn't in the fight, but Burn was able to actually outmaneuver and use that choke point to turn the tides around. And hey, a couple minutes later, it happens, but it's Incendio who wins it again.
I think it's just a very interesting situation here where both marksmen are critical to winning in the late game, but they have different solutions. For Incendio, it's going to be an assassin. For the side of Burn X Flash, it's going to be a mage. It just happens to actually coincidentally favor, and that is that steal. He's alone too. There was no distractions. There were no combos being used. He just goes in solo and gets it done.
No one set
Alien.
that up for him. I agree. No one set that up for him. And right now, Rashi, with this, I think we are going to throw it over to LaFell for an interview with Incendio Supremacy.